There is a power within you, a force so absolute that it shapes the very fabric of your reality. It is not outside of you, not in the circumstances that surround you, but in the consciousness you embody. The world you see is nothing more than a reflection of the state you occupy. Change the state and the world must conform. You do not wait for proof, you do not beg for signs, you assume, you embody, and you walk in the certainty that all you desire is already yours. You do not hope for wealth, for love, for success. You live as though they are already a part of you, not with pretense, not with effort, but with the deep knowing that what you claim in mind must manifest in form. You do not chase, you do not grasp, you do not seek confirmation. You act from the end as the one who already possesses it. The world may call it delusion, but the world only sees the outer shell of things. The one who understands the law knows that all appearances are but shadows cast by the unseen. If you wish to be loved, you must walk as the one who is already adored. You do not need validation, for you carry within you the certainty of your worth. If you wish to be wealthy, you do not worry about lack, for the wealth is already yours in consciousness. You move, you speak, you think as one who has everything, not in arrogance, but in quiet confidence. For the one who truly has does not need to prove it. The feeling is the secret, the conviction, the unseen claim that draws all things into alignment. Your senses may tell you otherwise. They may whisper of lack, of absence, of limitation. But the senses are the servants of the mind, not its master. You do not react to what appears, you impose the truth of your assumption upon the world. You persist, unwavering, until what was once invisible becomes undeniable fact. You have already received all that you desire, you do not need permission to claim it. Walk as though you have it now, and reality must follow. Your reality is a reflection of your state of consciousness. Everything you see, experience, and encounter in your daily life is a direct manifestation of the thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions you hold within. The world outside is not separate from you, but an extension of your inner world. Change how you see yourself, how you perceive your circumstances, and the world must shift in response. You are not a passive observer of reality, you are its creator. What you consistently accept as true within your mind shapes the conditions you experience. Most people believe that circumstances dictate their state of mind. They allow the external world to control how they feel, react, and live. If they see lack, they believe in lack. If they experience rejection, they assume they are unwanted. They wait for the world to change before they feel different. But this is an illusion. The world is only mirroring back what they are dominantly conscious of. The mind is the source, the world is the effect. The mistake is in thinking the effect has the power to change the cause. To truly understand this principle, you must reverse your approach to life. Instead of reacting to what is, you must determine within yourself what will be. Your inner world must take precedence over external conditions. The moment you accept a new state of consciousness as your truth, the world begins to shift in unseen ways to reflect it. You do not need to force change upon the outer world. You only need to persist in your new assumption, and reality will rearrange itself accordingly. Think of the world as a mirror. If you stand before a mirror with a frown, you cannot demand the reflection to smile first. You must change your expression, and only then will the reflection change. The same principle applies to life. If you desire abundance but hold on to thoughts of lack, the world will continue to reflect scarcity. If you wish to be loved but persist in feeling unworthy, you will attract situations that confirm that belief. The world does not give you what you want, it gives you who you are, in consciousness. This is why it is essential to become deeply aware of your dominant thoughts and emotions. Every moment you are shaping your reality by what you accept as true. If you wake up each day feeling defeated, expecting hardship, and doubting your own power, you will continue to experience situations that reinforce those feelings. But if you begin each day with the conviction that you are powerful, worthy, and abundant, the world will respond accordingly. It is not enough to simply wish for change, you must embody it. You must live from the assumption that what you desire is already yours. This means thinking, feeling, and acting as the person who already possesses everything they seek. It is not about pretending or forcing, but about truly believing in the reality of your new state. When you assume a new consciousness, your entire vibration shifts, attracting to you the people, opportunities, and circumstances that match it. The moment you change your state of consciousness, you set into motion an invisible process of transformation. The world may not shift instantly, but the change has begun. Just as a seed does not sprout the moment it is planted, reality takes time to reorganize itself around your new assumption. Your only task is to remain faithful to the state you have chosen, trusting that what you hold within will inevitably be expressed without. No matter what your current circumstances may be, they are only a reflection of past assumptions. They do not define you, nor do they have the power to limit you. The only thing that matters is what you now choose to believe. Accept the truth that you are the creator of your experience, and you will no longer feel powerless in the face of life. You will understand that by shifting your inner world, you can shift any external condition. Reality is fluid, shaped entirely by consciousness. You do not need to change the world, you only need to change yourself. The outer world is simply a mirror. Change your inner state, and the reflection must follow. The key to manifesting anything in life is to assume and embody the feeling of already having it. Most people live in a state of wanting, constantly looking at their desires as something distant, something they must strive toward. But desire, when viewed as separate from you, remains just that, something outside of you. The secret is to step into the state of already having, already being, and already experiencing what you wish for. You must not wait for external confirmation before you believe in your new reality. You must claim it within first, and the outer world will follow. Everything you experience is shaped by your inner world, your beliefs, assumptions, and emotions. When you assume a state, you begin to think, act, and feel as if it were already true. And because consciousness is the only reality, what you persistently assume will eventually become your physical experience. The world does not operate on effort alone. It operates on vibration, frequency, and alignment. If you are constantly yearning for something, you are affirming its absence. But when you embody the feeling of already possessing it, you send out a signal that attracts it to you effortlessly. Think of a person who is confident in their wealth. They do not obsess over money, nor do they question whether they will have enough. They live with a quiet assurance that wealth is theirs. This inner knowing shapes their actions, their decisions, and their interactions with the world. They carry themselves differently, they speak differently, and opportunities naturally gravitate toward them. Contrast this with someone who feels financially insecure. They are always in a state of worry, fear, and lack. Their mind constantly affirms scarcity, and as a result, their world reflects that back to them. The difference between these two individuals is not in their external circumstances, but in their inner states. To assume and embody your desire, you must first ask yourself, if I already had what I want, how would I feel? This question is the gateway to transformation. Once you determine the feeling, you must cultivate it within you until it becomes your natural state. If you desire love, embody the feeling of being deeply loved and cherished. If you desire success, assume the confidence of one who is already successful. Do not wait for external proof. Act as though your wish is already fulfilled. One of the greatest obstacles people face is doubt. The logical mind wants to question, to seek evidence before believing. But reality does not work that way. The unseen comes before the seen. Your consciousness precedes your circumstances. Just as a sculptor sees the finished work in their mind before shaping the stone, you must see yourself as already possessing your desire before it takes form. The mistake many make is to wait for the world to change before changing their inner state. But the law is clear. What you assume within must be expressed without. A simple yet powerful exercise is to live each day as though your desire has already manifested. If you were already living in your dream home, how would you walk through it? If you already had the perfect relationship, how would you feel waking up next to your partner? If you were already successful, how would you approach your work? Embody these feelings now, and the world will rearrange itself to match them. It is not about pretending or deceiving yourself. It is about shifting your consciousness to a new state of being. The subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. It simply accepts the impressions you give it. When you consistently assume a new state, the subconscious begins to accept it as truth. This is why visualization is such a powerful tool. When you close your eyes and imagine yourself already living your desired reality, you impress that image upon your subconscious. If done with feeling and persistence, this image begins to solidify in your outer world. However, assumption is not just about visualization. It is about living in the state of the wish fulfilled. This means not contradicting your assumption with thoughts of doubt, fear, or impatience. Many people assume for a moment and then immediately return to their old state of lack, undoing the work they have done. True assumption requires faith and persistence. You must hold on to your new state regardless of what the outer world currently shows you. Think of a seed planted in the ground. You do not dig it up each day to check if it is growing. You trust that it is taking root, even when you see nothing on the surface. The same principle applies to your desires. Once you have assumed them, you must trust that they are unfolding even if there is no immediate evidence. The world may seem unchanged at first, but beneath the surface, forces are aligning in your favor. Your job is not to figure out how your desire will manifest. The how is not your concern. The moment you try to control the process, you introduce resistance. Your only responsibility is to maintain the assumption, to live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and to let reality take care of the details. The path to manifestation will reveal itself in ways you could never predict, often through a series of seemingly natural events. This is not about blind faith, but about understanding the mechanics of consciousness. When you assume and persist in a new state, you activate a law that is as certain as gravity. You may encounter tests, moments where the old reality seems to fight back, but these are merely reflections of past assumptions. Do not be swayed by them. Remain steadfast, knowing that what you hold within must externalize. The moment you fully embody your desire, without needing external confirmation, is the moment you shift into alignment with it. You do not need to seek, strive, or beg for what is already yours. Walk as though you have it now, and reality will have no choice but to comply. The way you think, feel, and act in this present moment determines what unfolds in your life. Reality does not respond to wishful thinking or fleeting desires. It mirrors back your dominant state of being. If you desire wealth, success, or love, you must not wait for external circumstances to change before you feel worthy or abundant. You must embody that feeling now, living in the assumption that what you seek is already yours. When you carry yourself with the certainty of someone who has already received their desire, the world has no choice but to reflect that truth back to you. Most people live in reaction to what is. They look at their current circumstances and allow them to dictate their emotions and beliefs. If their bank account is low, they feel poor. If they are single, they feel unloved. If their career is stagnant, they assume they are not meant for success. But this is the opposite of how reality truly works. Your outer world is nothing more than a mirror of your inner state. It does not create your consciousness. It reflects it. If you continue to wait for circumstances to change before you feel different, you will remain stuck in the same cycle, repeating the same experiences over and over again. The power lies in shifting your internal state first. Instead of looking to the world for proof that you are successful, wealthy, or loved, you must cultivate that feeling within yourself. This does not mean forcing positivity or denying your current reality. It means choosing to align your thoughts and emotions with the version of yourself that already has what you seek. The more you persist in this state, the faster reality conforms to it. The key is consistency, remaining unwavering in your assumption, regardless of what your senses may tell you. Consider how a person who already possesses what you desire would think and behave. If you seek financial abundance, how would a wealthy person approach their day? They would not dwell on lack, stress over bills, or question whether money is coming to them. They would operate from a mindset of security, ease, and confidence. They would make decisions based on abundance, not fear. If you wish to attract love, how would someone who is deeply cherished and adored carry themselves? They would not feel desperate or unworthy. They would exude self-assurance, peace, and contentment. If success is your goal, how does a successful person move through life? They trust in their abilities, they take bold actions, and they know that opportunities flow effortlessly to them. When you begin to embody these qualities before the physical evidence appears, you activate the unseen forces that shape reality. Your energy shifts, and so does the way people and circumstances respond to you. You no longer operate from a state of lack, waiting for something outside of you to make you feel whole. Instead, you generate the feeling internally, and the world must mirror it back to you. Many people struggle with this concept because they have been conditioned to believe in the limitations of the physical world. They trust what their eyes see more than what their mind creates. But the truth is, what you see now is only a reflection of past thoughts and beliefs. If you continue to react to the current state of things, you will keep creating more of the same. The only way to break free is to start seeing beyond the physical, to trust in the unseen, and to hold the assumption that your desire is already yours. Doubt is one of the biggest obstacles in this process. The logical mind wants to question, analyze, and demand proof, but manifestation does not operate on proof. It operates on faith and persistence. The moment you give in to doubt, you undo the work of assumption. If you plant a seed and constantly dig it up to see if it is growing, you will disrupt its process. The same applies to your desires. Once you have assumed the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you must trust that it is unfolding, even if there are no immediate signs. Your job is not to worry about how your desire will come to pass. The how is never your responsibility. The mind is limited in its ability to predict the infinite ways in which reality can shift. The only thing you must do is remain faithful to your new state of being. The means will reveal themselves naturally through a series of seemingly ordinary events that in hindsight will appear perfectly orchestrated. The more you try to force or control the process, the more resistance you create. Let go of the need to figure it all out. Assume the feeling, persist in it, and allow reality to catch up. A powerful practice is to begin each day as if your desire has already been fulfilled. Before you even step out of bed, take a moment to feel the emotions you would feel if your manifestation were already a reality. Walk through your day with the confidence, joy, and ease of someone who already possesses what they seek. Speak, act, and think as if you are already living in that reality. This is not about pretending or tricking yourself. It is about shifting your inner state so completely that the world must conform to it. Think of an actor who fully immerses themselves in a role. They do not simply recite lines, they become the character. Their thoughts, emotions, and mannerisms align with the role they are playing, and in doing so, they bring that character to life. In the same way, you must fully embody the version of yourself who already has what you desire. When this becomes your dominant state, manifestation is inevitable. Patience and persistence are key. Many people give up too soon because they do not see immediate results. They assume that because nothing appears to be changing on the surface, their assumption is not working. But just as a seed grows beneath the soil before sprouting into view, your new reality is taking shape even when you cannot see it. The timing of its appearance depends on your ability to remain faithful to your assumption. If you waver between belief and doubt, you delay the process. But if you hold steady, refusing to entertain thoughts of failure or lack, your new reality will manifest in ways beyond your imagination. It is also important to detach from needing your desire to manifest in a specific way. The universe is limitless in its capacity to bring your assumption into form. If you become fixated on one particular outcome, you may block even greater possibilities. Hold your vision, but remain open to the infinite ways it can unfold. The feeling is what matters, not the specific details of how it arrives. The moment you stop looking outside for confirmation and start generating the feeling from within, you shift into a state of true power. You no longer chase, strive, or struggle. You simply are, living as if your wish is already fulfilled, knowing that reality has no choice but to reflect that truth back to you. Every experience in life is a reflection of your inner world. The thoughts you entertain, the emotions you dwell in, and the assumptions you hold shape the reality you live in. If you believe you are lacking, if you see yourself as someone who is always struggling, then life will continuously provide circumstances to confirm that belief. If you walk through the world feeling unworthy, people will mirror that back to you. If you carry the assumption that things never work out for you, you will find yourself in a constant state of frustration. You are always living in the reflection of what you assume to be true about yourself and the world. The key to transformation is recognizing that your assumptions are not passive thoughts. They are creative forces shaping the very fabric of your experience. If you assume you are abundant, life responds with abundance. If you assume you are loved, you encounter love in unexpected ways. If you assume success is inevitable, the path to success unfolds before you, often in ways you never could have planned. It is not about wishing or hoping, it is about knowing. Assumption is the act of accepting something as fact before it appears in the physical world. It is the unwavering belief that what you desire is already yours, even if the senses have not yet caught up. Most people live by the evidence of their senses. They look at their bank account, their relationships, or their circumstances, and use what they see to determine what they believe is possible. But reality does not work that way. The external world is a delayed reflection of the internal world. The thoughts you held yesterday, the emotions you dwelt in last week, and the beliefs you carried last month are shaping your current experience. If you want to change what you see, you must first change what you assume to be true. This requires a radical shift in how you move through life. You can no longer afford to be a passive observer, reacting to circumstances as they appear. You must take control of your inner world and decide with conviction that what you desire is already yours. Assume it boldly. Walk through life as though your wish is already fulfilled. Feel the joy, the relief, the excitement that you would feel if you had it now. Do not look to the outside world for validation. Let your assumption be enough. This does not mean ignoring reality or pretending something exists when it does not. It means understanding that reality is fluid, constantly reshaping itself to match your dominant state of being. You are not bound by what is. You are bound only by what you believe is possible. If you assume lack, you will see lack. If you assume wealth, you will see wealth. If you assume health, you will see health. It all begins with assumption. Consider someone who desires financial freedom but constantly worries about money. They may work hard, set goals, and take action, but if their dominant assumption is that money is scarce, they will continue to struggle. Their actions may be in the right direction, but their internal state contradicts their desire. The external world does not respond to effort alone. It responds to the assumption behind the effort. If this person shifts their assumption and begins to believe with certainty that they are financially abundant, they will start to see evidence of that belief. New opportunities will arise. Unexpected sources of income will appear, and they will begin to experience the wealth they assumed was theirs. The same principle applies to relationships. If someone believes deep down that they are unworthy of love, they will attract relationships that confirm that belief. They may meet people who treat them poorly, who are emotionally unavailable, or who reinforce feelings of rejection. But if they shift their assumption and begin to see themselves as deeply loved and cherished, the outer world must reflect that new assumption. They will encounter people who respect, appreciate, and adore them, not because they changed the external world, but because they changed their internal world. This is why assumption is the foundation of all manifestation. It does not matter how much action you take or how many affirmations you repeat. If your dominant assumption contradicts your desire, you will not see lasting change. Your subconscious mind accepts what you assume to be true, and it rearranges reality accordingly. This is why some people seem to attract success effortlessly, while others struggle for years with no results. It is not luck, it is not chance, it is assumption. Those who succeed assume they will succeed, and so they do. Those who fail assume failure is inevitable, and so it is. Doubt is the greatest enemy of assumption. The moment you question whether your desire is possible, you introduce resistance. Doubt is an assumption in itself, an assumption that what you want may not happen. The mind will always try to present reasons why your assumption is unrealistic. It will remind you of past failures, point out obstacles, and insist that reality does not change so easily. But the mind is only repeating what it has been conditioned to believe. The truth is, reality is far more malleable than most people realize. It is constantly being shaped by the assumptions you hold, whether consciously or unconsciously. To master assumption, you must learn to persist. You must hold to your belief even when the outer world has not yet changed. You must remain unwavering in your conviction, knowing that your assumption is more real than what your senses tell you. If you assume wealth, do not let a temporary financial setback shake your belief. If you assume love, do not let an argument or a period of loneliness make you doubt. If you assume success, do not let a temporary failure convince you otherwise. These are simply echoes of past assumptions playing out. Stay firm in your new belief, and the world must conform. One of the most powerful ways to strengthen an assumption is to act in accordance with it. If you assume you're wealthy, carry yourself with the confidence of someone who is financially secure. If you assume you are loved, move through the world with the assurance of someone who is cherished. If you assume success, take actions as though success is already yours. This does not mean reckless spending, arrogance, or blind faith. It means aligning your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors with the version of yourself that already has what you seek. The more you embody the assumption, the faster it solidifies into reality. At first, this may feel unnatural. The mind may resist, offering reasons why your assumption is unrealistic. But do not be discouraged. This is simply the old programming fighting to maintain control. The key is persistence. Continue to assume, continue to feel, continue to believe, and eventually the mind will accept the new reality as fact. And once it does, the world will change to reflect it. There is no force outside of you determining what you can or cannot have. You are the creator of your experience, shaping reality through the assumptions you hold. If you want something, assume it is already yours. Live in that assumption. Breathe it, feel it, walk in it. The world has no choice but to align itself with the reality you assume to be true. Everything in your life is a reflection of the state of being you persistently assume to be true. You cannot separate yourself from your assumptions, for they dictate what you experience. The world you see, the circumstances you encounter, and the people you interact with are all shaped by the dominant beliefs you hold. When you persist in a particular assumption, reality has no choice but to conform to it. The key is understanding that this process is not instantaneous. It requires faith, patience, and unwavering commitment to what you have chosen to believe. Most people waver in their assumptions. They may believe in abundance for a moment, But as soon as they check their bank account and see a number that contradicts their assumption, they revert to their old belief in lack. They may assume they are loved, but the moment they face rejection or loneliness, they begin to question their worth. This is why many never see the fulfillment of their desires. They do not persist. They let external circumstances dictate their inner world instead of holding firm to their chosen assumption. Reality bends to persistence, not to fleeting thoughts or momentary affirmations. The world does not change because you simply wish for it to. It changes because you persist in the conviction that it already has. This is the secret that so many overlook. When you assume something and hold to it without allowing doubt to creep in, the entire structure of reality begins to shift in response. The people you meet, the opportunities that arise, and the events that unfold all begin to align with the state of being you have claimed as your own. But you must remain steadfast in that assumption, regardless of what your senses tell you. Most people let circumstances dictate their beliefs. If they see evidence of failure, they assume they are failing. If they see a lack of progress, they assume their efforts are in vain. But the outer world is simply a reflection of past assumptions. And if you continue to react to what is, you will keep creating more of the same. You must break the cycle by persisting in a new assumption, even when there is no visible proof to support it. You must trust in the unseen, knowing that what you have assumed is already taking shape beneath the surface. There is no power in the external world greater than the power within you. Everything you see around you was once an unseen assumption. Every success story, every great achievement, every miraculous transformation began with an individual who dared to persist in their vision, even when there was no evidence to support it. They lived as if it were already true, and by doing so they called it into existence. You must do the same. Doubt is the greatest enemy of persistence. The moment you allow doubt to take root, you introduce resistance into your creation. The mind will always try to question, analyze, and rationalize. It will look at the external world and point out every reason why your assumption cannot be true. It will remind you of past failures, highlight obstacles, and insist that reality does not change so easily. But the mind is simply reflecting old conditioning. If you listen to it, you will remain stuck in the same cycle. You must train yourself to persist beyond doubt. When negative thoughts arise, do not entertain them. When circumstances seem to contradict your assumption, remind yourself that they are only temporary echoes of past beliefs. Hold firm to your new assumption as if your life depended on it. Speak it, think it, feel it, embody it. Do not allow anything to shake your conviction. If you persist, reality will have no choice but to shift. The reason so many fail to manifest their desires is that they give up too soon. They assume something for a day, a week, or even a month, but when they see no immediate change, they abandon their belief. They return to their old assumptions, reinforcing the same unwanted circumstances. But the truth is, the moment you assume something with unwavering persistence, it is already done. The only thing that delays its appearance is your own wavering belief. Consider the process of planting a seed. When you plant a seed in the soil, you do not dig it up every day to check if it is growing. You trust that beneath the surface, unseen forces are at work. You water it, nurture it, and give it time to grow. If you were to uproot it every time doubt crept in, it would never have the chance to take root. The same principle applies to assumption. Once you plant the seed of belief, you must nurture it with persistence, trusting that it will manifest in its perfect time. There is nothing in the universe that can deny you what you assume with full conviction. Reality is not separate from you, it is created by you. If you persist in the assumption that you are wealthy, the world will move in ways beyond your comprehension to bring that wealth to you. If you persist in the assumption that you are loved, love will find its way to you regardless of past experiences. If you persist in the assumption of success, opportunities will arise, doors will open, and circumstances will align to fulfill that assumption. But you must remain faithful to it, no matter what appears in the moment. You are not bound by time. The external world takes time to catch up to your inner world. But the moment you assume something, it is already real. You may not see the evidence right away, but that does not mean it is not in motion. Everything you assume with conviction is already set in motion, working behind the scenes to align itself with your belief. Your only task is to persist until the physical world reflects what you have claimed internally. The mind may try to convince you that you are lying to yourself, that you are delusional for assuming something that is not yet visible. But reality itself is an illusion, shaped by the assumptions you hold. The moment you fully embody an assumption, the illusion shifts to match it. What once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. There is no secret technique, no external force you need to seek out. The only thing required is persistence. Do not look to the world for confirmation. Do not seek validation from others. Do not waver when doubt arises. Simply persist. Persist in the feeling of already having what you desire. Persist in the belief that it is already yours. Persist until it becomes so natural that you no longer question it. And when you do, reality will bend to your assumption, for it has no choice but to reflect what you have persistently claimed as true. Reality is shaped by the assumptions you persist in, and when you fully commit to an idea, the external world has no choice but to conform. The moment you decide that something is yours and refuse to accept anything contrary to that belief, the universe reorganizes itself to bring your assumption into physical reality. The power to shape your world is not in effort, struggle, or external action. It is in the unwavering persistence of your assumption. Most people allow their assumptions to be dictated by what they see, hear, and experience. They look at their bank account and assume lack. They observe their relationships and assume loneliness. They assess their progress and assume failure. But all of these conditions are simply reflections of past assumptions, not fixed realities. If you continue to react to what is, you will only reinforce it. But if you choose to persist in a new assumption, despite what your senses tell you, you begin to alter the very fabric of your reality. There is no force outside of you dictating what you can or cannot have. The only limitation is your own willingness to persist. Every person who has ever achieved great success, overcome hardship, or transformed their life has done so by holding steadfastly to an inner vision. They did not let temporary setbacks deter them. They did not allow doubt to take root. They persisted in their belief, even when everything around them seemed to contradict it. And in time, reality yielded to their assumption. Your assumption is like a seed planted in the soil of consciousness. If you plant a seed and continuously dig it up to check if it is growing, you will only hinder its progress. In the same way, if you assume something and then doubt it, question it, or seek external validation, you disrupt the natural process of its manifestation. The key is to persist without wavering, to hold the assumption so firmly in mind that it becomes your dominant reality, even before the external world confirms it. Most people underestimate the power of their assumptions because they expect immediate results. They assume something for a day or two, and when they see no change, they revert to their old way of thinking. But reality operates on a delay. There is a period of unseen transformation before the physical manifestation appears. The only thing required during this period is persistence. Imagine a sculptor working on a block of marble. At first, the block appears unchanged. The sculptor continues chiseling, refining, and shaping, even though the final form is not yet visible. If the sculptor gave up after the first few strokes, the masterpiece would never emerge. The same is true of your assumptions. You must continue holding them, even when there is no visible sign of progress. Every moment you persist, you are shaping the unseen forces of reality. There is no greater power in existence than the persistence of an assumed belief. Everything you desire already exists in a state of potential. The only thing separating you from it is your ability to assume it as already yours. You do not need to know how it will come to pass. You do not need to force circumstances to change. Your only task is to persist in the assumption until it becomes so real in your mind that the external world has no choice but to reflect it. Doubt is the only thing that can delay or deny your manifestation. The moment you begin to question whether your assumption is working, you introduce resistance into the process. Doubt is the act of assuming something contrary to your desire. When you persist in an assumption, you cannot entertain its opposite. You cannot assume abundance while simultaneously fearing lack. You cannot assume love while doubting your worthiness. You cannot assume success while fixating on failure. The mind cannot hold two opposing beliefs at once. Whichever you persist in will become your reality. This is why persistence is the key to transformation. It is not enough to assume something for a moment or a day. You must live in the certainty of its truth, regardless of what the outside world appears to show you. When you persist in the assumption that you already own everything you desire, reality moves to confirm it. Doors open where there were none before. Opportunities arise in unexpected ways. People and circumstances shift in alignment with your belief. The world is a mirror, reflecting back to you the state of consciousness you occupy. If you want to change what appears in the mirror, you must first change within. Persist in the assumption that you are already the person who has what you desire. Walk, talk, think, and feel as if it is already true. Do not wait for evidence. Become the embodiment of your assumption now. When you persist in this way, the world cannot help but conform. The process is simple, yet most fail because they do not persist. They allow their senses to deceive them. They let external circumstances shake their belief. They listen to the doubts of others and question their own power. But those who persist, who refuse to accept anything less than the fulfillment of their assumption, are the ones who reshape reality itself. Nothing is outside your reach. There is no desire too great, no dream too distant. The only requirement is that you persist in the assumption that it is already yours. Do not concern yourself with how it will happen. Do not look to the world for confirmation. Simply assume, persist, and allow reality to catch up to your belief. When you do, you will see the world shift in ways that seem miraculous, yet were inevitable all along. There is nothing in this world that can deny you what you assume with unwavering conviction. The external world is not separate from you, it is shaped by you. The moment you claim something as yours and persist in that assumption, reality begins to shift in ways beyond your comprehension. You do not need to beg, chase, or force anything into existence. Simply live in the certainty that what you desire is already yours, and the world will adjust to reflect that truth. Doubt and hesitation are the only barriers to your manifestation. The moment you waver, you delay the fulfillment of your desire. But when you remain steadfast, refusing to let external circumstances shake your belief, you align yourself with the creative power that governs all things. You do not need to look for signs or seek proof. Persist in the assumption and the proof will appear. You hold within you the power to shape your reality. Persist, believe, and live as though you already own everything you desire. The world will respond accordingly, for it has no choice but to reflect the state of being you have claimed as your own. The world you see is not separate from you. It is the outpicturing of your state of consciousness. If you would change your life, you must first change the concept you hold of yourself. Everything you experience is but the shadow cast by your assumptions, the reflection of your inner world upon the vast screen of space. The key is not in struggling with circumstances, not in pleading with the world to bend in your favor, but in assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled and living from that state. An empire is not built by hesitation. It is not crafted by doubt. It is born in the mind of the one who dares to claim it before the world can see it. If you wish to be great, if you wish to create something magnificent, you must first walk in the certainty that it already exists within you. You must think from the end, not of it. The world will rearrange itself to reflect your conviction. Everything responds to your assumption. You do not wait for proof to believe. You believe and the proof follows. You must act as though the world is already yours, as though the empire you seek is already established in consciousness. Feel the weight of its reality, the certainty of its structure. Do not waver in your belief. The only thing that stands between you and the fulfillment of your vision is the belief that it is yet to be achieved. The timid soul waits for signs, for confirmation, but the master knows that the only true confirmation is within. Assume it boldly, walk in it daily, speak as one who already possesses the life you desire. Move with the quiet assurance of one who knows the unseen is more real than the seen. The world may call it arrogance, but it is not arrogance. It is faith. Faith in the unseen is the foundation of all great creations. An empire builder does not dwell on the failures of the past. There is no room for regret in the mind of the one who knows their destiny. What has been does not matter. What will be is shaped by the state you dwell in now. Do not waste time lamenting what has not worked. Look ahead. See yourself already in possession of all that you seek. Feel the power of it now. You must discipline your mind to remain loyal to the vision. Thoughts of doubt, of lack, of limitation are the only enemies you will ever need to conquer. Do not entertain them. Replace them with certainty, with gratitude for what is already yours in consciousness. You are not a beggar pleading for scraps of success. You are a creator, a master, an architect of reality. Walk in that awareness, and the world will yield to your vision. Everything begins in imagination. The great cities, the towering structures, the wealth and power, none of it was ever external before it was internal. A single thought, a single assumption becomes the foundation upon which an empire is built. The only question is whether you will assume the role of the builder or remain a spectator, watching as others shape the world. Dare to assume that you are already who you wish to be. Do not look for evidence, create it within. The feeling of certainty is the cornerstone. Hold it, nurture it, and live from it. The world must conform, it has no choice. The law is simple, as within, so without. Act as though you are already in possession of your dream. Walk with the assurance of one who knows their vision is unfolding in perfect order. Nothing can stand in the way of the one who lives from the end. Build the empire within, and it will manifest without. It is not a matter of chance, it is a matter of law. The foundation of all creation lies in assumption. What you assume to be true shapes the reality you experience. The world you see is nothing more than a mirror reflecting back to you the state of your inner being. To change what appears on the outside, you must first change what is within. This is the great secret that has been taught for centuries, yet so few truly understand its power. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are not simply daydreaming or hoping for a better future. You are stepping into a state of being where your desire is already accomplished. You are moving beyond wishing and into knowing. You no longer look at your desire as something distant or out of reach. Instead, you embody the experience as though it were already yours. This shift in consciousness is the key to manifesting your reality. Many people wait for external proof before they believe in their desires. They wait for signs, for validation, for circumstances to align before they allow themselves to feel successful, loved, or abundant. But this is the wrong approach. The world does not shape your belief. Your belief shapes the world. If you wait for proof before believing, you will always be chasing an illusion. Instead, you must reverse the process. You must first assume the state of already having what you seek. The outer world has no choice but to conform to that inner conviction. The greatest mistake people make is thinking that they are separate from their desires. They place what they want outside of themselves as something they must strive for, struggle to attain, or work endlessly to achieve. But the truth is, everything you seek is already within you. The moment you claim it in consciousness, it begins to take form. This is not wishful thinking. It is the law of creation. Consider the way an actor prepares for a role. They do not simply memorize lines and recite them without emotion. They embody the character. They step into the mind, the heart, the movement, the very essence of the person they are portraying. They live as that character, and as a result, the audience believes in the performance. In the same way, you must step into the role of the person who already has what they desire. You must think, speak, and act as though it is already yours. The more natural this state becomes, the faster it manifests in your reality. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you eliminate doubt. Doubt is what keeps people stuck. It is the enemy of manifestation. When you question whether something is possible, whether you are worthy, whether the world will cooperate with you, you send mixed signals to your subconscious mind. The subconscious does not argue with you, it simply accepts the instructions you give it. If you affirm something one moment but contradict it with doubt the next, you create confusion. The key is unwavering faith. Faith is not about hoping something might happen. Faith is absolute certainty. It is walking through life knowing that what you desire is already a fact. Even when the outer world has yet to catch up, you remain unshaken. You do not seek validation because you know the truth within. This level of confidence is what moves mountains, what shifts reality in your favor. The feeling is the secret. It is not enough to think about your desire, you must feel it deeply. How would you feel if your dream were already realized? What emotions would arise within you? Would you feel joy, peace, gratitude? Hold on to those feelings, immerse yourself in them, let them saturate your entire being. When you sustain this emotional state, you activate the creative power of your subconscious mind. Think of it this way. Your subconscious is like fertile soil. Whatever seed you plant, it will grow. If you plant seeds of doubt, fear, and lack, that is what will flourish. But if you plant seeds of confidence, fulfillment, and abundance, your reality will reflect those qualities. You cannot deceive your subconscious. It responds to your dominant state of mind. That is why assumption is so powerful. When you live in the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are programming your subconscious to bring that reality into existence. People often ask, but how can I feel something that hasn't happened yet? The answer is simple. Your imagination. Your imagination is the bridge between the unseen and the seen. It allows you to step beyond the limitations of your current circumstances and into the limitless possibilities of creation. When you imagine yourself as already having what you want, your subconscious mind accepts it as truth. It does not differentiate between what is real and what is imagined. That is why visualization is such a powerful tool. Every great achievement in history began with someone imagining it first. The greatest inventions, the tallest buildings, the most groundbreaking discoveries, they all started as an idea in someone's mind. The visionaries saw the end result before the world did. They lived in the feeling of their creation before it became physical. This is the same principle that governs your life. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you must also let go of attachment. Clinging to a desire with desperation signals to the subconscious that you do not truly believe in its fulfillment. True belief is calm, knowing, and unwavering. It does not chase or beg, it simply is. The moment you release resistance and trust in the unseen, your manifestation accelerates. Another important aspect of this practice is persistence. Many people try to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled but give up too soon. They expect instant results, and when they do not see immediate change, they revert to old patterns of doubt. But creation follows its own timing. Just as a seed does not sprout the moment it is planted, your desire takes time to materialize. But rest assured, it is happening. The moment you assume it, the process begins. Your only job is to remain faithful to the vision. This is where many fail. They waver in their belief. They look at external circumstances and allow them to dictate their inner state. But the master creator knows that the outer world is only a reflection. If something is not yet visible, it does not mean it is not real. It simply means the process is unfolding. Do not let temporary appearances deceive you. Stay in the state of fulfillment. Practical way to reinforce your assumption is through daily mental rehearsal. Each night before you sleep, enter the state of your wish fulfilled. Close your eyes and see yourself already living your dream. Feel the emotions of having it. Make it as vivid as possible. Let this be the last impression upon your subconscious before you drift into sleep. This is when your mind is most receptive to suggestion. Your assumption must become your way of life. It is not something you do once and then forget about. It is a state of being that you return to moment after moment, day after day, until it is second nature. The more consistently you dwell in this state, the faster your reality shifts. Doubt, fear, and hesitation have no place in the mind of a creator. They serve only to delay your manifestation. You must rise above them. You must be bold in your assumption. Declare that you are already in possession of your desire. Speak it with conviction. Walk in it. Let it become the air you breathe. This is not wishful thinking. It is the law of consciousness. What you assume, you become. What you feel deeply, you manifest. The world will always shape itself to match your inner world. There is no exception to this principle. The only question is whether you will use it consciously or allow old patterns to dictate your life. Decide now. Choose to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Live in it. Trust it. Know it is already done. The moment you accept it as real, it is only a matter of time before the world reflects it back to you. Nothing can stand in the way of the one who lives in the certainty of their fulfilled desire. The world must conform. It is law. The key to creation lies in your ability to think from the end, not merely of it. To think of something is to entertain it as a possibility, a distant dream, something separate from yourself. But to think from the end is to place yourself in the state where your desire is already fulfilled. It is to see the world through the eyes of the person who has already achieved what they seek. This distinction is the difference between waiting for something to happen and causing it to happen. Most people spend their lives thinking of their desires. They wish for success, dream of love, hope for abundance, and long for change. But they never shift their consciousness to the place where these things are already real. They see their dreams as something outside of themselves, something to be attained rather than something to be assumed. This is why they struggle. The outer world is only an echo of the inner state. And as long as you see yourself as someone who is lacking, wanting, or waiting, your external world will continue to reflect that condition. To think from the end is to abandon all thoughts of separation between yourself and your desire. It is to fully embody the state of already having, already being, and already living in that reality. It is not a passive process, but an active, deliberate shift in identity. The moment you assume the feeling of already being the person you wish to become, the world begins to mold itself around that assumption. Reality does not resist your imagination, it follows it. Many people hesitate because they believe they must first see evidence before they can accept something as true. They rely on their senses to tell them what is real. But creation does not work this way. The outer world is a delayed reflection of inner consciousness. If you wait for physical proof before adopting a belief, you will be trapped in an endless cycle of reacting to circumstances instead of creating them. Thinking from the end means disregarding the current conditions and assuming the inner conviction that your desire is already fulfilled. The process of thinking from the end is not about forcing or struggling. It is about knowing. It is about stepping into a state of certainty where you no longer seek because you already have. Imagine the difference between someone who is striving for success and someone who already possesses it. The first person is filled with effort, concern, and longing, always looking for ways to achieve their goal. The second person moves with confidence, ease, and assurance because they already know their success is a fact. This shift in consciousness is what causes reality to change. A crucial part of thinking from the end is understanding that your identity dictates your experience. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. If you continue to see yourself as someone who is waiting for something to happen, you will always be in a state of waiting. But if you step into the identity of the person who already has what they desire, the outer world will rearrange itself to reflect that assumption. It has no choice. It is law. Think of someone who has mastered a skill, whether it is an athlete, an artist, or a leader. When they perform, they do not think of themselves as beginners. They do not question their abilities or hesitate. They step fully into the role of mastery. They see themselves as the person who is already successful. This is why they excel. The same principle applies to any area of life. If you wish to be wealthy, you must think from the perspective of wealth, not from the perspective. If you wish to be loved, you must think from the perspective of someone who is already deeply loved, not from the perspective of someone who is searching for love. Many people ask, but how do I think from the end when my current reality contradicts it? The answer is simple: imagination. Imagination is the tool that allows you to step beyond your present circumstances and into the reality of your choosing. When you close your eyes and envision yourself already living your desire, your subconscious mind accepts it as true. It does not distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. The more vividly and consistently you dwell in the state of your wish fulfilled, the more quickly it will externalize in your world. Every great transformation begins with a shift in consciousness. There is no other way. You cannot change the outer world without first changing the inner world. If you desire health, wealth, happiness, or success, you must begin by assuming the consciousness of already possessing these things. This does not mean merely affirming them with words. It means fully inhabiting the feeling, the mindset, and the identity of the person who already has them. The great secret is that you do not need to know how your desire will manifest. The means are not your concern. Your only task is to remain faithful to the end state. The world will conspire to bring about the necessary circumstances, people, and opportunities to fulfill your assumption. When you persist in thinking from the end, you will find that everything aligns effortlessly. Doors open where before there were none. Coincidences and synchronicities appear to guide you. What once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. Inevitability. Doubt is the only thing that can delay this process. The moment you question whether your desire is possible, you step out of the end state and back into limitation. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot hold two contradictory beliefs at the same time. Either you are the person who already has what you want, or you are the person who is still trying to get it. Choose now. Decide who you are and remain steadfast in that assumption. The most effective way to reinforce this practice is through mental rehearsal. Each day, set aside time to close your eyes and dwell in the feeling of your wish fulfilled. See yourself already living the life you desire. Feel the emotions associated with that reality. Let it become so real in your mind that you no longer see it as something separate from you. Before you sleep, enter this state of fulfillment. Let your last thoughts of the day be of already having what you seek. This impresses your subconscious mind, which works tirelessly to bring about whatever it accepts as true. Understand that there is no power outside of you that determines your fate. You are the creator of your experience. Your beliefs, your assumptions, and your inner state dictate what unfolds in your world. There is no external force deciding whether you succeed or fail. The only question is whether you will claim your power or continue to live by the limitations of past conditioning. To think from the end is to free yourself from limitation. It is to step into a new reality where you are no longer bound by circumstances, history, or logic. It is to live from the truth that what you seek is already yours. The moment you fully accept this, your world will begin to reflect it back to you. Everything you desire is already created in consciousness. The only thing separating you from it is your own belief in separation. Remove the idea that it is distant, difficult, or uncertain. Accept it as a present fact. Assume the feeling of already being, having, and living your dream. Let go of the need to question, analyze, or seek validation. The moment you commit fully to your assumption, the process is set in motion. Prompt, you say, reality bends to the mind that knows its own power. The moment you think from the end and refuse to waver, the world has no choice but to conform. This is the law. Nothing can stand in the way of the one who is steadfast in their assumption. Choose now to live from your fulfilled desire. It is already yours. The only step left is to accept it completely. The outer world is nothing but a mirror, reflecting the state of your inner world. Every event, every circumstance, and every person you encounter is a manifestation of what you hold in consciousness. There is no external power governing your life. Everything you experience originates from within. If you wish to transform your reality, you must first transform your inner state. Change does not come from struggle, effort, or force. It comes from a shift in consciousness. The moment you change your self-concept, the world around you reorganizes to reflect that change. Most people believe that circumstances dictate their state of mind. They react to life as if it is happening to them, unaware that they are the source of it all. When faced with difficulties, they try to change external factors without addressing the root cause, their inner state. But true power lies not in reacting to the world, but in consciously shaping it from within. The only thing standing between you and the life you desire is your assumption of what is possible. The moment you assume a new self-concept, the world must conform to that assumption. Your assumptions create your experience. Whether you are aware of it or not, you are always assuming something about yourself and your life. If you assume that success is difficult, life will present you with obstacles. If you assume that love is scarce, you will encounter rejection. But if you assume that you are already successful, already loved, already abundant, the world will arrange itself to match that inner conviction. It does not matter whether the assumption seems logical or realistic. Reality follows your belief, not the other way around. Many people fall into the trap of waiting for external validation before they change their assumptions. They say, "I will believe I am successful when I see proof," or "I will feel loved when someone treats me well." But this is backward thinking. The world does not change first, your consciousness does. If you wait for the world to confirm your new belief before adopting it, you will remain stuck in the same cycle of lack and limitation. The only way to break free is to assume the new reality first, without any external proof, and trust that the world will adjust accordingly. Consider how the world reacts to different people based on their self-concept. A person who sees themselves as confident and capable naturally attracts opportunities. They walk into a room and command attention without trying. Why? Because their inner state projects an energy that others respond to. On the other hand, a person who doubts themselves, who assumes they are unworthy, will find that the world reflects this assumption back to them. They will struggle to be heard, to be noticed, to be valued. The outer world is not deciding their fate. It is simply reflecting what they believe to be true about themselves. Faith is the ultimate power that shapes reality. It is not a passive hope, but an active force that determines what you will experience in this world. When you understand that everything in your life is a reflection of your inner state, you realize that faith is the bridge between the unseen and the seen. It is the unwavering conviction that what you assume to be true must become real. Faith does not require evidence. It creates evidence. It does not wait for proof. It is the proof. It is the force that holds the universe together, and once you harness it, nothing is impossible for you. Many people believe faith is something external, something that comes from religious teachings or spiritual traditions. But faith is not outside of you. It is within you, woven into the very fabric of your being. It is the power that has been working in your life from the beginning, whether you were aware of it or not. Every belief you have ever held, whether good or bad, has been sustained by your faith in it. If you believe in limitation, you will experience limitation. If you believe in abundance, you will experience abundance. The world does not choose for you, you choose, and faith makes it real. True faith is effortless. It does not struggle, beg, or force. It simply knows. It is the calm certainty that what you desire is already yours. This is the difference between those who manifest their desires with ease and those who struggle. The one who knows does not waver. They do not look to the world for confirmation. They already have their confirmation within. They do not let appearances shake them because they understand that appearances are illusions, mere reflections of old beliefs. Faith is not just believing in something when it is easy. It is believing when everything seems to be against you. It is standing firm when nothing in your external world supports your vision. Most people abandon their desires because they allow doubt to creep in. They let fear and insecurity overpower their conviction, and in doing so they undo their creation. But the one who has true faith does not let temporary setbacks shake their inner knowing. They persist, knowing that reality must conform to their belief. The reason faith is the ultimate power is that it overrides all resistance. It does not matter how impossible something seems, faith makes a way where there is no way. The laws of the physical world do not apply to the one who truly believes. Obstacles dissolve, people and circumstances shift, and opportunities appear seemingly out of nowhere. This is not luck or coincidence. It is the natural effect of an unwavering belief. The world is simply following the command of the one who holds the vision. Faith is the key that unlocks the door to every possibility. If you look at those who have achieved great things, you will see that they all had one thing in common: an unshakable belief in themselves and their vision. They did not let failures stop them. They did not let the opinions of others define them. They moved forward with the certainty that their success was inevitable. This is why faith is more powerful than intelligence, talent, or resources. You can have all the skills in the world, but without faith you will be stuck. And you can have nothing but faith, and it will carry you to heights you never imagined possible. To develop faith, you must train your mind to ignore appearances. You must stop reacting to the world and start acting from your inner vision. Every time you doubt, you are reinforcing the reality you wish to change. But every time you reaffirm your faith, you are strengthening your new reality. Faith is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. At first, it may feel difficult because the world seems so real, so fixed. But as you persist, you will begin to see evidence of your new assumption. Small shifts will appear, and as you continue, those small shifts will turn into major transformations. The secret to unshakable faith is living in the end. When you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are no longer waiting, you are already there. You do not ask when will it happen, because in your mind it already has. You do not seek reassurance because you do not need it. The world has no choice but to mirror your assumption. It must obey the law of consciousness. People often wonder why their desires do not manifest, and the answer is always the same. They waver they assume their desire one moment and doubt it the next. This back and forth keeps them stuck in the same reality. But when you develop unwavering faith, when you hold to your vision no matter what, you will see miracles unfold before you. What once seemed impossible will become effortless. What once felt out of reach will become your reality. Faith is not something you try, it is something you embody. You cannot test faith while still holding doubt in your heart. True faith means letting go of all other possibilities except the one you desire. It means refusing to entertain thoughts of failure. It means walking through life with the absolute certainty that what you have assumed is already done. This is the faith that moves mountains, the faith that creates worlds. The moment you shift into this state, everything begins to change. You will notice that people respond to you differently, that opportunities arise where none existed before. You will feel an inner peace, a confidence that does not waver, and soon your outer world will reflect this new state. There is no force in existence that can oppose true faith. It is the power that sustains all of creation, and once you align with it, you become unstoppable. If you find yourself struggling with doubt, remind yourself that doubt is only a habit. It is not real unless you give it power. Every time a negative thought arises, replace it with the knowing that your desire is already yours. Speak it into existence, affirm it with conviction, and act as if it is already true. The more you do this, the more natural it will become. Eventually, your faith will be so strong that nothing in the world can shake it. Faith is not something reserved for a select few. It is available to all who choose to claim it. It is the birthright of every person. The only difference between those who succeed and those who do not is the level of their faith. Those who succeed refuse to accept anything less than their vision. They persist, they believe, and they receive. You must decide right now that you will no longer waver. You will no longer allow appearances to dictate your belief. You will step into the absolute knowing that what you desire is already yours. The moment you do this, you set forces in motion that cannot be stopped. The world must shift to accommodate your belief. Faith is the ultimate power because it does not bend to circumstances, it creates them. It does not seek evidence, it produces it. It does not wait, it commands. When you understand this, you hold the key to unlimited creation. Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, persist in your belief, and know with absolute certainty that it is done. When you master faith, you master reality. There is a secret known to those who dare to assume the best in life. It is not found in the outer world, not written in stone, nor whispered in the wind, but buried deep within the consciousness of those who believe. You do not need to fight circumstances, nor must you struggle against the tides of reality. You only need to act as if everything always works out for you, and in doing so, the world will shape itself accordingly. The great illusion is that life happens to you. But life is not an external force moving independently of your inner world. It is your consciousness reflected back at you. What you assume to be true, what you persist in believing becomes your experience. There is no power outside of you deciding your fate. The only authority is your own imagination, and whatever you dare to accept as real within must harden into fact. To act as if everything always works out for you is not pretending, nor is it wishful thinking. It is a state of being, a knowing so deep that it does not waver when evidence seems contrary. When you assume this truth, you cease to fear, you cease to doubt. You walk in confidence, not because the world has proven itself to you, but because you have declared it so. And in time the world will conform. If you wish to see a change, do not wait for it. Do not look outside for proof before you believe. Act now as if the thing you desire is already yours. Feel the relief, the satisfaction, the joy. Let it become so real within you that there is no room for questioning, and soon you will witness the outer world bending to match the inner. The key is persistence. When the senses tempt you to doubt, return at once to your assumption. Refuse to be swayed by appearances. You are not here to chase outcomes, but to create them. The moment you dare to live in the end, to carry yourself as one whose desires are already fulfilled, the unseen forces move to arrange every detail in your favor. What seemed impossible begins to unfold with effortless precision. The law is simple. What you assume to be true will be made manifest. Do not ask how, do not concern yourself with the means, only occupy the state of one for whom everything always works out. And the world will confirm your assumption again and again. Your world is nothing more than a reflection of your inner state. Every experience, every circumstance, every person you encounter is responding to the assumptions you hold within. Whether you are aware of it or not, life is mirroring back to you the thoughts and beliefs you entertain most consistently. There is no external force dictating the events of your life, only the law of consciousness, which states that what you accept as true in your imagination must be expressed in your reality. This is why acting as if everything always works out for you is not just a hopeful attitude, it is a fundamental shift in the way you engage with reality. Most people believe that they are at the mercy of the world around them. They react to events as if they are powerless, constantly adjusting their thoughts and emotions based on what is happening outside. But this is an illusion. The outer world is not independent of your inner world, it is the result of it. If you accept this truth, you will understand that circumstances are not permanent, nor are they random. They are the outpicturing of what you have been assuming all along. Change the assumption, and the reflection must change. It is not a question of if, but when. The key is to become aware of what you are accepting as true on a daily basis. Are you assuming life is difficult, that things never go your way, that you must struggle and suffer before receiving what you desire? If so, your world will faithfully reflect those assumptions. It does not matter whether you consciously desire a better outcome. What matters is what you believe at the deepest level. You cannot hold one assumption and expect another reality to manifest. The law does not work that way. If you were to fully embrace the belief that everything always works out for you, what would change? You would no longer worry about how things will unfold because you would know that they must unfold in your favor. You would not waste time entertaining doubt or fear because you would understand that such emotions only create more of what you do not want. Instead, you would carry yourself with a quiet confidence, trusting that every situation is working to bring about your highest good. This is not about blind faith. It is about mastering the way reality operates. When you shift your inner state, the world has no choice but to follow. Imagine walking through life knowing beyond any shadow of a doubt that no matter what happens, things will always turn in your favor. Even when something appears to go wrong, you hold to the assumption that it is merely a stepping stone to something better. You refuse to react with fear or frustration because you know that the end result is always in alignment with your greatest good. This way of living creates a profound sense of peace. No longer do you feel the need to control every detail of your life. No longer do you waste energy trying to force things to happen. You become like a master artist, painting reality with the brush of your imagination. If you do not like what you see, you do not fight against it. You simply create a new vision within, and in time the outer world reflects it back to you. This is not wishful thinking, it is the way consciousness works. Everything you experience is the result of past assumptions that have solidified into form. If you want to change what you see, you must first change what you believe. And the most powerful belief you can hold is that everything always works out for you. The moment you accept this as truth, your reality begins to shift. Events start to align in unexpected ways. People appear to help you at just the right moment. Obstacles dissolve and opportunities present themselves effortlessly. It does not matter what your past experiences have been. The past has no power unless you continue to dwell on it. The moment you decide to assume a new reality, the old must fade away. It cannot persist without your continued attention and belief. This is why it is so important to remain loyal to the assumption that everything works in your favor, even when circumstances seem to contradict it. Do not waver. Hold firm in your inner conviction, and reality will soon reshape itself to match. Most people make the mistake of letting their senses dictate their beliefs. They look at their current situation and assume it is unchangeable. They react to problems as if they are permanent, forgetting that all conditions are fluid and subject to change. But those who understand the law of consciousness do not fall into this trap. They know that the only reality that matters is the one they create within. They do not concern themselves with appearances because they understand that appearances are nothing more than past thoughts coming into form. To act as if everything always works out for you means to embody that belief in every moment. It means walking with confidence, speaking with certainty, and thinking in alignment with the end result you desire. It means rejecting fear, doubt, and worry, for those emotions only serve to create the very conditions you wish to avoid. It means trusting the unseen forces at play, knowing that they are working in your favor even when you cannot yet see the evidence. There will be moments when doubt creeps in. The world may try to convince you that things are not going your way. But in those moments, you must remind yourself of the truth. Reality is fluid, and your consciousness is the force shaping it. If you remain steadfast in your assumption, the outer world has no choice but to conform. This is not about ignoring reality. It is about understanding that reality is a mirror, and you are the one holding the original image. Once you fully embrace this way of thinking, you will notice a shift in how you interact with the world. You will no longer feel the need to struggle or chase after things. Instead, you will allow them to come to you, knowing that they must. You will recognize that what once seemed like obstacles are merely detours leading to something even better. You will find yourself feeling lighter, more at ease, and more in control, not because you are controlling the outer world, but because you have mastered the inner. This is the secret that those who live effortlessly have discovered. They do not live by chance, they live by intention. They have chosen, consciously and deliberately, to assume that life is always working for them, and because they persist in this assumption, their reality must reflect it. The same is true for you. The only thing standing between you and the life you desire is your willingness to assume that it is already yours. And once you do, everything must align accordingly. To act as if your desires are already fulfilled is not a performance. It is not about pretending or fooling yourself into believing something that is not true. It is about stepping into the state of being that aligns with what you seek, embodying it fully, and allowing reality to conform to this inner conviction. Most people live in a state of wanting, constantly looking at what is missing in their lives and reinforcing its absence. But the truth is, the moment you assume something to be true, it begins to take shape in your reality. The external world is only a reflection of your inner world, and when you shift internally, the outer must follow. If you desired wealth, how would you feel if you already had it? Not in a distant, hopeful way, but in an absolute, unquestioned way. You would not worry about bills, you would not stress over money, and you would not chase after it desperately. Instead, you would carry yourself with an ease, a sense of security, a quiet confidence that comes from knowing you already possess what you need. If you desired love, how would you behave if the perfect relationship was already yours? You would not feel lonely, you would not seek validation from others, and you would not act from a place of neediness. You would already feel loved, cherished, and complete, knowing that love is an inseparable part of your experience. This is the essence of living in the end. You do not wait for the world to confirm your desires before you believe in them. You assume the state of having them now, and as you persist in that assumption, the world reshapes itself accordingly. The mistake most people make is thinking they must first see evidence before they can believe. But all creation happens in reverse. It is belief that brings the evidence, not the other way around. Your mind is constantly affirming a reality, whether you are conscious of it or not. If you habitually dwell in thoughts of lack, doubt, and fear, your world will mirror that back to you. You will find yourself in situations that confirm those assumptions, reinforcing a cycle of struggle. But the moment you shift your inner state and act as if your desires are already fulfilled, the mirror of reality begins to change. You no longer attract experiences that match the old state of lack. Instead, you draw in opportunities, people, and events that align with your new assumption. Acting as if does not mean forcing yourself to do things that feel unnatural. It means adjusting your inner world, your thoughts, emotions, and reactions to align with the end result you desire. You do not have to tell anyone what you are doing, nor do you need to take excessive external action. The true work happens within. When you assume the state of already having what you want, your thoughts naturally shift, your body language changes, your energy transforms. You become the version of yourself who already has the thing you seek, and soon reality has no choice but to reflect that. There is no need to struggle or force results. The moment you feel as if you already have what you desire, you remove all resistance. Fear disappears, worry fades, and desperation dissolves. You no longer operate from a state of need, because you have mentally and emotionally aligned with the fulfillment of your wish. This is where the power lies, not in chasing, but in becoming. When you live from the end, you carry a different energy. And this energy draws to you the circumstances that match it. Many people spend their lives hoping and wishing, but hoping is not knowing. Hoping suggests doubt, and doubt creates distance between you and your desire. The key is to move beyond hoping and step into certainty. The moment you decide that your desire is already yours, you shift the entire course of events in your favor. The world responds to conviction, not uncertainty. If you wanted a new home, you would not sit around longing for it, reinforcing the feeling of not having it. Instead, you would begin to experience it in your imagination. You would see yourself walking through its rooms, feeling the textures, smelling the air, touching the furniture. You would wake up each morning with the sense that this home is already yours, even if it has not yet materialized in the physical world. And as you persist in this inner reality, the outer world begins to rearrange itself. Opportunities arise, circumstances shift, and what once seemed impossible begins to unfold naturally. If you wanted a better job or career, you would not dwell in frustration about your current situation. Instead, you would embody the energy of someone who already has the position they desire. You would carry yourself with confidence, speak with authority, and make decisions from a place of certainty. And soon the right opportunities would begin to appear, not by accident, but as a direct reflection of your inner assumption. This is how reality works. It does not move in response to effort alone, but in response to the state of being you occupy. The greatest secret is that everything you seek is already available to you. It exists now, in this very moment. The only thing keeping it from you is your belief in its absence. The moment you shift that belief and act as if your desires are already fulfilled, you bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Do not let appearances deceive you. The world you see today is merely the result of past thoughts and beliefs. If you do not like what you see, change the assumption, and the world must follow. This is not about denying reality, but about understanding that reality is fluid, always shifting in response to your consciousness. When you assume a new state of being and persist in it, the outer world has no choice but to reflect it. Doubt may arise, but it holds no power unless you give it attention. Ignore anything that contradicts your assumption and remain loyal to the feeling of already having your desire. The more you dwell in that state, the more natural it becomes. It is not about forcing belief. It is about familiarizing yourself with the feeling of fulfillment until it becomes second nature. Once it does, manifestation is inevitable. There is no need to question how things will happen. The how is not your concern. Your only responsibility is to remain in the state of already having what you want. The means by which it arrives will take care of themselves. The world is simply a stage, and your consciousness is the director. When you give a new command, the scene must change accordingly. You are not at the mercy of circumstances. You are not a victim of fate. You are the creator of your experience, and everything begins in your imagination. Choose now to act as if your desires are already fulfilled. Feel the relief, the excitement, the gratitude. Let it sink into your being until there is no room for doubt, and as you do, reality will move in ways you never expected to confirm what you have already accepted as true. The world is not happening to you, it is responding to you. Every experience you encounter, every person you meet, every opportunity or obstacle that comes your way is a reflection of the assumptions you hold within. Most people believe that they must react to life, adjusting themselves according to external circumstances, but the truth is, life is always adjusting itself to you. It is shaped by the beliefs you carry, the emotions you dwell in, and the assumptions you make, whether consciously or unconsciously. The moment you shift your inner world, the outer world begins to transform in ways that seem almost magical. But in reality, it is simply the natural order of things. You do not experience what you want. You experience what you believe to be true. If you believe that life is difficult, that success is rare, that happiness is fleeting, then your world will conform to those beliefs. It will provide you with evidence that supports them, reinforcing the very reality you wish to escape. But if you assume that life is always working in your favor, that everything is unfolding perfectly for you, and that success and joy are inevitable, the world must shift accordingly. Your assumptions form the foundation upon which reality is built, and nothing exists outside of the state of being you occupy. Many people mistakenly believe that they must work tirelessly to change their external circumstances before they can feel at peace. They struggle, they push, they fight against reality, hoping that through sheer effort they can force things to go their way. But this approach is flawed, for it places power in the external world rather than within. True transformation does not come from fighting against what is. It comes from assuming a new state of being and allowing reality to mirror it back. There is no need to force, chase, or manipulate. There is only the need to assume and persist in that assumption until the world adjusts to match it. If you assume that everything is always working out for you, you step into a state of trust and ease. You no longer waste energy on doubt or fear. You no longer scramble for answers or seek validation from the world. Instead, you move with confidence, knowing that whatever happens, it is happening for your benefit. Even challenges become stepping stones, and setbacks turn into redirections leading you to something even greater. This is not wishful thinking, It is the direct result of the state you hold within. The person who expects the best from life moves through the world differently than the one who expects difficulty. Their energy is different, their posture is different, their decisions are different. And because their inner world is different, their external world must reflect that difference. They meet the right people at the right time. They find solutions effortlessly. They attract opportunities where others see only obstacles. It is not luck. It is simply the natural outcome of the state they occupy. To assume that everything is always working out for you is to remove fear from the equation. Fear exists only when you believe that things might go wrong, that you might fail, that life is uncertain and unpredictable. But when you truly believe that everything is unfolding perfectly, fear has no place in your mind. You do not hesitate, you do not second guess yourself, and you do not resist the flow of life. You trust that whatever comes your way is leading you exactly where you need to be, and this trust allows you to move forward with clarity and purpose. Doubt may attempt to creep in, but it is powerless unless you entertain it. The world will always reflect back to you the dominant state you persist in. If you momentarily waver but return to your assumption that everything is working in your favor, reality will adjust accordingly. There is no need to be perfect in your assumption. You only need to be persistent. The more you reaffirm that life is unfolding in your favor, the more effortless your experience becomes. Some may argue that bad things happen, that difficulties arise, and that life is full of unpredictable challenges. But those who assume that everything is always working out for them do not see difficulties as misfortunes. They see them as part of the unfolding process. They do not resist what is happening, they embrace it, knowing that even what appears to be an obstacle is, in truth, a redirection towards something greater. They do not label experiences as good or bad, for they understand that everything is moving them toward the fulfillment of their highest good. If you adopt this way of thinking, you will notice an immediate shift in your experience, where once you saw problems, you will begin to see opportunities. Where once you felt resistance, you will feel ease. Where once you doubted, you will feel a deep inner knowing that all is well. This change does not require the world to transform first. It requires you to transform first. And once you do, the world must follow. Every moment you are choosing which reality to align with. You are either reinforcing a state of struggle, fear, and doubt, or you are affirming a state of ease, flow, and certainty. The choice is always yours. You do not need external proof to believe that everything is working out for you. The belief itself is enough to set the process in motion. The moment you accept this as truth, reality begins reshaping itself to confirm what you have assumed. Those who live in this state are not free from challenges, but they are free from the suffering that comes from resisting them. They move with the certainty that all things are conspiring in their favor, and because of this certainty they remain unshaken. They trust the unseen forces that are guiding them, and this trust allows them to move through life with confidence and grace. If you choose to live in this state, you will notice a profound change in how life unfolds for you. The things you once worried about will begin resolving themselves. The situations that once seemed hopeless will shift in unexpected ways. Doors will open where before there were only walls. It is not because the world has changed. It is because you have changed. And in changing, you have commanded the world to reflect your new state. You have always had this power. It has never been outside of you. The key has always been your assumptions, your beliefs, your inner state. The moment you decide that everything is always working out for you, the world will prove you right. And it will continue to prove you right as long as you remain steadfast in that assumption. The moment you act as if everything is working out for you, reality begins to shape itself around your assumption. It is not wishful thinking or blind optimism. It is a deliberate shift in the way you interact with the world. When you truly embody the feeling that all things are unfolding in your favor, you no longer wait for external proof. You become the proof. Your actions, your energy, your choices, all reflect the certainty that life is moving in the direction you desire, and as a result, the world must respond accordingly. Most people live in reaction to their circumstances, adjusting their emotions based on what they see. If things appear difficult, they feel stressed. If things seem uncertain, they feel anxious. If they don't yet see evidence of what they want, they doubt. But those who understand the nature of reality know that the outer world is simply a mirror. It is not something to react to. It is something to direct. And the way you direct it is through your internal state, your beliefs, your assumptions, your feelings. When you carry yourself with the unwavering knowing that everything is always working out for you, the world has no choice but to reflect that knowing back to you. To act as if everything is unfolding perfectly means to move through life with confidence and ease. It means making decisions from a place of certainty rather than fear. It means no longer hesitating or second-guessing yourself, because you trust that even the choices you make will ultimately lead you to where you are meant to be. You do not wait for circumstances to align before you believe in your desired outcome. You believe first, and then the circumstances align. This is the difference between those who struggle and those who seem to move through life effortlessly. The latter are not lucky, nor are they special. They have simply mastered the art of assuming the best and acting in alignment with that assumption. Every action carries energy, and the energy behind an action determines its outcome. If you take action from a place of fear, desperation, or doubt, you will find yourself meeting resistance. But if you take action from a state of certainty, if you move as though you already have what you desire, the path will unfold with ease. This is why some people seem to attract opportunities effortlessly, while others feel like they must fight for every small victory. It is not because the world favors one person over another. It is because one is acting in alignment with the assumption that everything is working in their favor, while the other is acting from a state of struggle and doubt. When you act as if everything is always working out for you, you become unshakable. Situations that once triggered worry or frustration no longer have power over you, because you know that even apparent setbacks are part of a greater unfolding. You do not waste time complaining or focusing on what appears to be wrong, because you trust that everything is serving a purpose. And because your focus remains on the certainty of your desired outcome, life continues to rearrange itself to match your expectation. Most people look at their current reality and believe that it defines what is possible for them. They allow what they see to dictate how they feel, which in turn keeps them trapped in a cycle of repeating the same experiences. But those who understand the power of assumption do not let the present moment define their future. They move as if their success, happiness, and fulfillment are inevitable, and because of this, they create a reality that reflects that inevitability. This does not mean ignoring reality or pretending that challenges do not exist. It means approaching every situation with the knowledge that it is working for you, not against you. If something does not go as planned, you do not fall into despair. You adjust, you persist, you trust. You do not seek reassurance from the outside world. You carry the reassurance within you. You do not need evidence to believe. You believe first, and then the evidence appears. Those who operate from this state naturally attract opportunities, people, and circumstances that align with their vision. They do not chase, they magnetize. They do not force, they allow. And because they act from a place of knowing rather than hoping, their reality shifts to reflect that knowing. This is why some people always seem to be in the right place at the right time. It is not chance, it is alignment. Fear loses its grip on you when you embrace this way of being. Fear only exists when you believe that things might not work out, that something could go wrong, that you are at the mercy of circumstances. But when you act as if everything is always working out for you, fear has no foundation. You move forward with a sense of calm assurance, knowing that life is unfolding exactly as it should. You no longer feel the need to control every detail, because you trust that the details are taking care of themselves. Doubt fades away when you no longer entertain it. The mind may try to question, to analyze, to seek confirmation from the outside world, But when you persist in the assumption that all is well, doubt loses its power. You no longer need validation because you're already living in the state of certainty. This is why those who embody this mindset experience miracles, because they are not waiting for proof to believe. They believe, and so the proof comes. It is not about ignoring reality, it is about shaping reality. The external world is not fixed. It is fluid, ever-changing, always responding to the state you hold within. The moment you act as if everything is working out for you, the world begins to mirror that assumption. People respond to you differently. Opportunities appear effortlessly. What once seemed difficult becomes easy. And it is not because the world has suddenly changed, it is because you have. The power has always been within you. It has never been outside of you. The choice has always been yours. You can continue to live in reaction to circumstances, or you can assume the state of certainty and allow life to reflect that certainty back to you. The difference between those who struggle and those who thrive is not in their external circumstances, it is in their inner state. Those who assume that life is hard will find themselves in a hard life. Those who assume that life is unfolding perfectly for them will find themselves in a reality where everything flows effortlessly. You do not need to wait for the perfect conditions to begin living in this way. You can begin now. You can begin to move as if everything is already working in your favor. You can choose to embody the energy of someone who knows, beyond any doubt, that life is aligning for them in ways beyond what they can currently see. And as you do, the world will shift to match your assumption. Nothing is stopping you except your own belief in limitations. The moment you let go of those limitations and fully step into the assumption that all is working out for you, life will begin to show you just how true that is. And the more you persist in this state, the more evidence will appear reinforcing your belief until it becomes second nature. You will look back and realize that nothing outside of you needed to change, only your perception, only your assumption. And in changing that, you change everything. There is a profound transformation that takes place when you let go of the need to force things and instead surrender to the knowing that everything is already working out for you. The very act of trying to control every outcome, to micromanage every detail, stems from a deep-seated belief in struggle. It is the idea that unless you push, unless you fight, unless you stress over every step, things will not go your way. But the truth is, reality does not respond to struggle, it responds to assumption. When you release the need to control and instead assume that all is aligning for you, you enter a state of flow where life unfolds effortlessly. Most people live in a constant state of resistance. They believe they must make things happen, that success requires hardship, that achieving their desires means enduring stress and sacrifice. This belief is so deeply ingrained that they do not question it. But resistance only creates more obstacles. The energy of struggle breeds more struggle. When you operate from a mindset of force, life mirrors that energy back to you in the form of delays, complications, and frustrations. On the other hand, when you adopt a state of ease, when you move as if everything is already aligning in your favor, you become a magnet for effortless success. You are no longer fighting against the current, you are flowing with it. There is an unseen intelligence that orchestrates all things. It is not your job to manipulate every event or control every outcome. It is your job to align with the natural unfolding of things. When you assume that life is always working out for you, you step into harmony with this intelligence. You begin to trust that the right people, the right circumstances, the right opportunities will reveal themselves at the perfect moment. You stop forcing, you stop chasing, and instead you allow. This does not mean passivity, it means inspired action. It means moving with confidence, with faith, with the certainty that every step you take is leading you exactly where you need to be. Doubt is what keeps most people stuck. They take a step forward, then immediately question if it was the right move. They begin something new, but then second guess whether it will work out. This constant back and forth creates a state of uncertainty, and uncertainty delays manifestation. But when you act as if everything is already working out, You move with clarity. You no longer hesitate because you trust that whatever action you take will be supported. This certainty creates momentum. Life begins to respond to your unwavering belief, and what once seemed out of reach starts to appear effortlessly. The need to control comes from fear, the fear that things might not happen as you want them to. But fear is nothing more than misplaced focus. It is the mind creating scenarios of failure, of disappointment, of struggle. And because what you focus on expands, those fears can become self-fulfilling. But the moment you shift your focus, when you decide that everything is working in your favor, the fear dissolves. You no longer dwell on worst-case scenarios because you no longer believe in them. You have chosen a different reality, a reality where things always work out for you, and so that is the reality you experience. There is a profound sense of freedom that comes with this shift. You no longer live in reaction to circumstances because you know that circumstances are temporary and fluid. You do not waste energy worrying because you understand that worry is unnecessary. You no longer feel the need to prove yourself, to over-explain, to seek validation, because you know that you are already aligned with the outcome you desire. This is true power, the ability to remain unwavering in your assumption, regardless of what appears in front of you. It is the ability to move forward with confidence, even when there is no visible proof yet. And the irony is, the moment you embody this state, the proof begins to appear. Most people wait for external confirmation before they believe in their success. They wait to see results before they trust that things are working. But those who truly understand the nature of reality know that the belief must come first. The world does not give you proof so that you can believe. It gives you proof because you believed. When you no longer need validation, when you no longer seek reassurance, when you move as if everything is already unfolding perfectly, the evidence naturally follows. This is why some people seem to experience rapid shifts while others struggle for years. It is not because one is more deserving than the other. It is because one has stepped into the assumption of certainty while the other is still questioning, still doubting, still waiting for signs. The one who assumes that life is always working out for them moves with a sense of peace. They do not rush, they do not worry, they do not force. They trust. And because they trust, life unfolds in ways that others call miraculous. But it is not a miracle. It is simply the natural result of unwavering belief. When you act as if everything is working out for you, you become someone who naturally attracts what they desire. You are no longer seeking, no longer chasing. Instead, you are allowing. You are letting things come to you because you know they are already yours. This is not passivity, it is mastery. It is the difference between someone who desperately clings to a desire and someone who calmly expects it. The one who clings repels what they want because their energy is rooted in lack. The one who expects magnetizes it because their energy is rooted in fulfillment. The more you embody this state, the more effortless life becomes. You begin to notice how things align perfectly, how opportunities present themselves, how people show up at the right time. And it is not because life suddenly changed, it is because you did. You stopped resisting, you stopped doubting, you stopped trying to force. You stepped into the flow, and in doing so, you allowed life to meet you at the level of your expectation. It is a simple shift, yet it changes everything. Instead of living in reaction, you live in creation. Instead of worrying about what could go wrong, you expect everything to go right. Instead of seeking external validation, you carry the certainty within you. And the moment you make this shift, the world bends to reflect it. This is the secret that those who experience effortless success have always known. They do not operate from fear, from doubt, from struggle. They operate from certainty. They move as if the outcome is inevitable, and so it becomes inevitable. They assume that life is always working out for them, and so life does. You do not have to wait for anything to change externally before stepping into this reality. You can begin now. You can decide that from this moment forward, you will move through life as if everything is aligning for you. You can let go of doubt, of fear, of resistance. You can choose to act as if your desires are already fulfilled, as if every challenge is guiding you to something better, as if life is constantly working in your favor, and as you do, life will rise to meet that assumption. Everything is responding to you. Everything is a reflection of what you assume to be true. If you assume struggle, you will experience struggle. If you assume ease, you will experience ease. The choice has always been yours. The moment you decide that everything is working out for you, you will begin to see proof of that decision everywhere, and soon it will no longer be a decision, it will simply be the way you exist.